Hello students. Today we are with a new topic, new chapter, chapter 4, the supply analysis. Last chapter we studied about the elasticity of demand. Now we are here with the new topic, supply analysis. We know that the two forces of market, the demand and supply. From that, the demand we studied, now we are studying about the supply. So in the supply analysis, first we go through what is supply. So in the introduction, the supply is a fundamental economic concept that describes the total amount of specific goods or services that are available to a seller. The total amount of goods or services available for sale at a particular price is known as supply. So, two sentences it is given in the slide, you can see. Supply is the fundamental economic concept that describes, what does supply describes? The total amount of specific goods or services that available to a seller. Why seller means he is going to sell the product. So that are the goods which the seller will sell. The total amount of goods or services available for sale at any specified price, it is supply. Now to study supply, we have to study about the three concepts it is given. So the three concepts you have to study when you study the supply. First it is total output, then stock and supply. Now what is total output? Output is produced in the process of production. Output is produced. In the process of production, what is produced? Output. When production takes place, something comes out. Now you are studying, you are the students of 12th standard. What is the output? While whatever you studied, whatever input it is, you put it. It's exam, you will get the mark, that is the output. In the production, using all the inputs, the production takes place and total output, that is output. Total output, the definition you have to write is, total output can be defined as the sum total of the quantity of a commodity produced at a given period of a time in the economy. Now what is an economy? Economy is a system in which production, distribution, consumption and exchange is done in a systematic way. So production should be there, distribution should be there, consumption should be there. Then only a country will turn to economy. So in the economy, whatever things are produced, it is termed as output. Without output, can you supply? No. So the first concept you have to study about is total output. Next it is stock. Stock is the total quantity of a commodity available for sale with a seller at a particular point of time. It is the source of supply. Stock is the source of supply. Without stock, you can't supply. If you are a seller, a consumer come and ask you about the particular product, you will say, oh, it is not in my stock. So I am not able to give that product. So did supply take place? No. Why the supply didn't take place? Because that particular thing was not in the stock. So the supply didn't take place. In the same way, the stock, it is means it is a potential supply. Stock is a potential supply. Why we say that stock is a potential supply? Because it is kept for sale. It is not sold. It is lying there, lying in the godown, lying in the room. I am stocked it. So it is potential. Now in the stock, in the case of perishable goods like fish, milk or many other things, the stock is equal to supply, and in the case of durable goods, the stock exceeds the supply because furniture example it is given. So you can keep it for long period. So the stock is more than the supply. In the case of which goods? Durable goods. And in the case of perishable goods, the stock is equal to supply. Now what is supply? Supply is the relative term. It always expressed in the relation to the price, time and quantity. So these terms you have to just, students, whatever given in the textbook is taken into the slides and it is given properly. You can study it without any difficulty. Now the meaning of supply. The word supply implies the various quantities of commodity offered for sale by the producer during a given period of time at a given price. It is related to time and price. So supply is said to be a flow concept. Supply is a flow concept. Now, definition of supply is given. According to Paul Samuelson, supply refers to the relation between market price and the amount of goods that producers are willing to supply. So what is supply? Again and again the same term is being explained to you. What is supply? Supply refers to the relation between market price and what? And the amount of goods that the producer is willing to supply. So two things you have to keep in mind in the Paul Samuelson's definition, that is, it is the relationship between market price and the amount of goods the producer is willing to supply. According to the price, if the producer is willing to supply, that is termed as supply. Now you can, for the example, it is explanation is given. Supply is referred to the quantity of a commodity that a seller is willing and able to offer for sale at a given price during a certain period of time. For example, a farmer's total output of rice is 4,000 kg. This is the total stock. The total product output is the total stock. Now, if the price is 40 rupees kg, the farmer offers 1000 kg for sale. This is the actual supply. So, total 4000 kgs he has stocked, and for 40 rupees he is supplied only 1000 kg. So, actual supply what it is? 1000 kg. The rest is in the stock. Now, here we can see the stock exceeds the supply. Got? Now, while studying the supply, we have to study in the same manner. While we studied the demand, we studied about the demand schedule. In the same manner, in the supply, we have to study about the supply schedule and supply curve. In supply schedule and supply curve, we have to study individual supply schedule and individual supply curve. Along with that, we have to study market supply schedule and market supply curve. Here, I have taken the individual supply schedule. You have to write the definition. Individual supply schedule refers to a tabular representation showing various quantities of a commodity that a producer is willing to sell at various prices in the given period of time. So, supply schedule. Individual supply schedule is the schedule of a particular supplier, particular seller, in which it shows the relation between the price and the supply. In the schedule, you can see there are two columns. In the first column, it is given price, and the second column supply. Price you can write, I missed to write RS. You can write in the, put a bracket and write rupees, and supply you can write kg. When the price is 1, the supply is 1 kg. When the price was 2, the supply 2. When the price is 3, the supply is 3. So, we can see along with the price, the supply also is increasing, showing a proportionate relation between the price and the supply. So, relation between the price and supply is proportionate. When the price rises, the supply also rises. We will study in the coming chapter, so coming topic about this thing. So, just you see that this, according to the supply schedule, a supply curve is derived. What is individual supply curve? It is a graphical representation of individual supply schedule, or we can write supply curve. Individual supply curve is a graphical representation of an individual supplier in which he has sold the particular commodity at the prevailing price. In this, I have taken 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 In y-axis price and the x-axis quantity supplied. SS is the supply curve. It is sloping upwards from left to right, showing that along with the increase in the price, the supply also increases. The market supply schedule curve and curve, market supply, it is a tabular representation showing different quantities of a commodity which all the producers are prepared to sell. Here it is all the producers in the market are prepared to sell at different prices at a given period of time. In the schedule, you can see the price of the commodity 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see the quantity supplied by 3 sellers, seller A, seller B and seller C. And the last you can see the total supply, that is A plus B plus C. Here I have taken the same individual schedule, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for seller A, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for seller B, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for seller C. This shows that while the price increases, all the sellers in the market sell. As the price increases, they sell more. Thus, we can see the total of these sellers 6, 9, 12, 15 and 18. It shows that the price increasing, the selling also increases. And a market supply curve is derived that shows the sloping upwards from left to right while the price increases the supply. So, you can explain this too in that way. Now, determinants of supply. Students, this year the chapter determinants of supply, you no need to learn it by heart, but while you study the law of supply, determinants of supply, you have to remember. If you study the determinants of supply, it will be easy for you to the further you go the law of supply. So, we can see here 8 determinants of supply it is given. In that, price of a commodity, cost of production, government policies, future expectations of price, state of technology, infrastructure, natural conditions, other factors that you can see. So, first we are taking the price of the commodity. Now, the price is an important factor influencing the supply of a commodity. More quantities are supplied at a higher price and less quantities are supplied at a lower price. Thus, there is a direct relationship between the price and quantity. Direct relationship. As the price increases, supply also increases. Second, it is state of technology. Technological improvement reduces the cost of production, which leads to increase in the production and supply also. Means automatic machineries. If it is there, handmade things and automatic machineries things. In automatic machineries, mass production, it is there. When there is mass production, there is too much of supply. Thus, the state of technology affects the supply, determines the supply. Third, it is cost of production. If the factor price increases, the cost of production also increases. As a result, the supply decreases. So, the relation it is the determinants of supply, the cost of production, if it is too much, what happens? The supply decreases. If it is cost of production is less, the supply increases. Infrastructure facilities, next. Infrastructure in the form of transport, communication, power, etc. influence the production process as well as supply. Shortage of these facilities decreases the supplies and vice versa. In infrastructure, if there is a good road, it is easy to transfer the things. But when the roads are not in the proper way, when there is no markets, then what happens? The supply also will affect. So, these things you have to keep in mind. The government policies, favorable government policies may encourage supply and may discourage supply also. Now, what are the government policies like taxation, subsidies, industrial production, supply? It depends upon the different policies of the government. Now, next 6th point, it is natural condition. The supply of agriculture products depends on the natural condition. For example, a good monsoon and favorable climate conditions will produce good harvest. So, the supply of the agriculture product will increase and the unfavorable climate also reduces the supply. In the same way, even the industrial products also affect the natural condition. If it is too much of rain or flood happens, what happens? The road transport will be blocked and even the products will not be transported. That also affects. So the supply what determines the natural conditions affects the determination in supply. Future expectation of the prices. If the price are expected to rise in the future, what happen? The producer withdraw the supply, that he will hold it as a stock. And also there is a chance of the future fall in price. The producer, what he do? He will supply more that time. So determinants of other factors such as nature of market, relative price of other goods, exports and imports, industrial relations, availability of factor production, etc. All that affect the supply. So students, today I conclude this topic with the determinants of supply. Next topic will be the law of supply. In the coming video, you will be explain the laws of supply, and along with the variation, changes and all that factors, assumption, exception, all these things will be explained in the second part. And students, watch it properly, study it. You study means this properly, all these things is very easy for you explain. So taking into consideration the importance of the chapter, students go through these topics properly, write it, and means notes also I am uploading in the Google Classroom. So just see it, write it, or for the MCQs also, whatever I explained the slide, it is enough for you. So okay students, thank you.